Hi guys, welcome to the High Performance PT Academy podcast. I am your host Tony Pang, and I'm going to be speaking to one of the original members of the PT Academy, and we're just going to run through their journey, where they were before, where they are now, and just kind of that success story to give you an idea of that type of transformation that you yourself could go through. So we're going to welcome on board Nikki Jamieson. Nikki, how are we?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited about this.
Not a problem at all. So pretty much let's give the audience and the viewers a bit of a background about you. So how long have you been a personal trainer for?
Okay, so I started personal training when I was 18. I was actually going into the police at that point, and I just found myself in the gym all the time. My stepdad, he was actually a police officer, and then he asked me one day, he was like, this is grim, but he was like, how do you think you'd handle seeing a dead body right now? And I was like, not very well. So then I was like, right, okay, I need to kind of figure out something else to do. I was in the gym all the time, and then my ex-partner, so my partner at the time, was a personal trainer, and it was kind of him that persuaded me into that. And yeah, then I was obsessed after that. That was just like, once I got that in my head, that was like the vision, and that's all I wanted to do. I worked in a really small Thai boxing gym. I mean, the gym was great, like everybody was so friendly and so nice, but it was honestly like the smallest thing. All the equipment would fall apart, it was rusty, like every time you picked up a dumbbell you wondered what you were going to get off the dumbbell, like it was horrible. But everybody was so nice, and it was such a good community. But that's where I actually originally built my business, and I got quite busy in there. I then moved to another gym that had opened up round the corner. The equipment was a bit better, it was a bit bigger. I kind of knew the guys that were opening it, so I moved around there, and that's kind of been where I've been since. I've been there for about 2.5 years now.
Okay.
Obviously then COVID and stuff started recently, and then that's when I decided that I needed to make the change to online.
So looking at where you were before, so as a kind of one-to-one trainer, roughly how many hours were you doing in that gym environment?
So when I was in the gym, I built up obviously from none. I quit my job. I just decided to take the plunge. Like I just didn't hesitate. I was like, I need to go all in this. And then over like the course of like 5 years, I think I built up to probably averaging around 40 to 50 sessions a week. I think my busiest week was like 72, and it was absolutely hell for me. It was just horrific.
I remember speaking to personal trainers and feeling like doing 50 hours plus is that gold badge. It is that's the standard of success is the hours. But I always say to people, being in that position myself, like doing 50, 60 or 70 hours, like you were saying, as much as the money's good, there's not a life there. You don't get the time that ultimately you want to do the things that you enjoy, your training, partner, relationship, things like that. So what is it, obviously for you, you've been in the industry 4 or 5 years, you've built up a successful one-to-one business. At that point, you're probably, how much were you charging at that point?
25 to 30.
25 to 30 pounds. So you were earning a good amount of money. So what was it? What was the shift? What was the change? What was the point? Because I mean, you said it was COVID. Before the restrictions and before COVID and before that kind of crazy year of the pandemic, did you feel like something was missing at that point?
So I actually totally lost my passion for it. Like I was so bored. Like I was just dreading getting into work in the morning. I couldn't get myself out of bed. Like I was just doing crazy hours. Like I was just not interested anymore. I was actually looking at going back into the police. I was looking at being a prison officer. Like I was genuinely just not wanting to do what I was doing anymore. I was miserable. I wasn't in good shape. Like, you know, I was always used to being pretty fit and healthy and active, and I wasn't in great shape. I'd let myself put on a lot of weight just because I was grabbing like whatever. You know, I wasn't being a good role model for my clients. Like I wasn't interested in what I was doing either, because it was just so the same every day. Like, and I did just genuinely lose my love for personal training. Like, and it was very, very close to that point of not going back to it. Then the pandemic hit, and then I was just like, the thought of, once lockdown was lifted, the thought of going back to what I was doing was just like terrifying. I just did not want to do it, and I was like, I need to do something about this. I cannot go back to that gym. Like it was, and as it got closer to maybe the lockdown getting lifted, and it was like, you know, it started to become, COVID started to get a little bit better at that point. Like this was in the first lockdown. I just the fear just grew, and I was like, no, I need to get something sorted. I can't go back to this. So I started trying to do like a bit of online coaching myself. But I didn't really know what to do. I was kind of barking up all the wrong trees, and just it was really, really messy. And I was like, I can't make money from this. Like, this isn't going to be a sustainable business for me. I'm enjoying it more than what I was doing, but it wasn't going to be a sustainable income for me at that point.
Yeah, I remember talking to you, and I remember speaking to a lot of personal trainers that when you've done one-to-one and you decide, look, I'm going to try this online, you're not quite sure where to start. You're not quite sure how to do it, and you just kind of give it a go, and it feels a bit messy. It doesn't feel like a business. It feels like a wee bit of a side job, a side hustle. It's like, well, it'll do for just now until I get back to doing one-to-one training. So what was it that you felt like you were missing that could make this online coaching that you were trying to do into a business?
So there was just no plan. Like, I was just kind of trying to wing it. Like, I had like a group page set up, and I was posting like workouts, and like, that's not even the way I train. Do you know what I mean? It's not even the way I trained clients. I was just trying to almost people please. And like, that was something that I was just trying to like adhere to every day. I was charging like £15 to get access to this group. Like, I just really didn't. And then I was trying to do check-ins, and I was just had no real plan of what to do. It was all quite overwhelming. And then I'd be watching this person doing this, and I'd be like, this person doing that. And I was just trying to pick like what was appealing to the most people, even though that's not the way I like to train, and it's not the way I would train somebody one-to-one. So it was just more clarity of like, right, okay, this is what you need to go and do. This is how you get the type of clients that you want, and this is how you're going to put it into action, and you're going to do this first, and this last.
And I remember, and I think so, listening to exactly that full journey in terms of you've been a personal trainer 4 to 5 years, you've been successful, money was good. Like, you had gone to that point of probably taking on that much work that you started to lose that passion, that bit of drive, that bit of motivation. And for you, it's looking for another option to continue. Ultimately, you love being a personal trainer. Like, we know that the impact and working with your clients is something that you have that passion and desire for. But ultimately, it didn't feel like a business. It felt like ultimately your clients came first, and you kind of were left with the short end of the stick. You were left with whatever time you had left was your own, which wasn't pretty much. So from going from that, we then spoke. I remember speaking to you on the phone. I remember being like, Nikki, what do you need? And at that point, you just said anything. You just said, look, I don't even really know like what I'm getting in for, but I just know that what I'm doing now isn't working. You were looking for that kind of solution as to where am I going to go with this? Because I know I want to continue doing this, but I'm just not sure how. And I think a lot of personal trainers are in that same boat. They know they want to change, but they're not quite sure how. So you took that plunge. I remember after that call, you sent me that text. Said, Tony, I feel ill. I felt ill. I haven't slept. So obviously you'd taken the plunge. How did you feel at that point?
Oh, I was absolutely unwell. I think like, so when I was like, obviously for personal training, I did make good money. Obviously when COVID kind of happened, that did take a hit in my savings because I wasn't getting any income. So, but then I was sitting like, you know, I've got some money here. I need to do, like, the only way I'm going to make this work is if I get help, because I can't do this myself. What I'm doing right now isn't making me enough money, so I need to change this. So that's why I wanted to reach out. I was like, I knew, like, obviously I've been quite a big podcast listener all my life, and you always hear people saying, you need to spend money to make money. I actually did business at college as well, and one of the things I actually train my business lecturer now. But she always used to say like that, you know, that's one of the reasons why most businesses fail, because there's no more money going in and blah blah blah. So that kind of stuck in my head, and I was like, no, I just need to find something that's going to give me like the love that I have for it back again. And I'm glad I did, because now I don't even feel like I'm working like every day. Like when I'm checking people in and when I'm getting clients on calls, it's all people that I want to work with, and it's like, it's definitely totally changed how I feel. And like, although it was scary at that time, and it was like, I'm a pure stressed person anyway. Like,
we know that.
I will like overreact to everything, overthink everything. But I didn't sleep that night. I don't think I slept the next night. I was like telling my mom, I was like, I don't know if I've done the right thing. Like, is this the right thing that I've done? I was saying to my boyfriend, I was like, have I done this right? Like, what do you think? And he's like, Nikki, I've told you 15 times, so I think like chill out. But it was so worth it. See, just to have the way that I feel now about my work, like I don't even think I've felt like this about personal training ever. Like, I remember liking it at the beginning, but I didn't like it as much as I like it now.
So let's take that transition then. So from where you were before, so pre-COVID, you were probably comfortably earning between £2,000 and £3,000 a month. Yeah. Then I remember speaking to you during COVID, that probably dipped to about 1,500. Yeah, so it wasn't like you weren't making anything. You were doing a bit of online, couple of outdoor PT here and there, but nothing really sustainable. Now let's take that transition now. So we've came on board, we've looked at what you're doing, we've sat down with you and said, Nikki, we need to come up with a plan. You're not quite sure what to do next. We decided to look at your online model, completely revamp that so that you could take on more clients. We looked at in terms of your ability to market yourself. Now, you've already got an online presence from being a personal trainer before. So it wasn't like we were coming at this with a blank canvas, but we had to take from just randomly posting, putting up content, to transitioning that to people actually then wanting to come and work with you, because ultimately you were going to be that person that was going to deliver them the results that they'd never achieved with anybody else. Yeah. So with all of that, what was one of the key points in terms of we came on board and we were looking at your marketing and we wanted to kind of look at who did you love working with? Who was it that ultimately gave you that passion back for being a personal trainer? And I want to go into discussing in terms of when we were creating your plan, what was one of the key parts in terms of the marketing that you weren't doing before?
Okay, so when I was one-to-one, I trained a lot of young girls, party animals, like, and to be honest, like, I'm a bit of a self-confessed, like, back in the day I was definitely a bit of a bam, like like I was definitely not your golden child that probably everybody thinks that I am now. I was definitely a bit like wild, and I think I actually attracted that kind of client a little bit. But, you know, although I was a bit like that, I am also a serious athlete. Like, I've been a British CrossFit champion. Like, I've been, like, a rowing champion. Like, I'm a serious athlete despite that. But I think that when I wasn't training hard and I wasn't, like, prioritising that side of me, attracted the wrong kind of people. So I was getting these girls that had maybe cancel on me, or like just wanted these bigger bums but didn't want to eat more food, like not really looking to really take on what I was saying. I think they were maybe just coming to the gym for a bit of sex appeal and like flirt with the guys and just say they had a PT, not really take training that seriously. So I think that's also what bored me in the one-to-one sessions, because I wasn't getting stimulated enough. Like from my sessions, it was like glute activation, glute bridge ups, like it was just like that repetitive, all over. Why have you not tracked? Like, why have you not done this? Like, why have you not checked in with me? Like, why have you not been here for 3 weeks? Like, it was a bit more like that kind of thing. So when I decided to go online, I definitely wanted to work with a more elite clientele, like people that wanted to take their training a little bit more seriously. Somebody a bit more like myself, and I always say this to you actually as well, like I always think like I would pay that, like, so that's the kind of person that I want to pay, want to pay me. So when we discussed marketing and stuff like that, like it was more catered to what would I resonate with and what kind of client, like what would I look for on social media posts, like, and we started to tailor my marketing around that a little bit more than just me being like, here's a bikini picture, here's this, here's that. It was more a bit structured. We talked about like you know, call to actions and stuff like that, and I think that definitely improved the kind of clientele that I had.
Because before, I'm assuming you just worked with anybody and everybody. If somebody wanted a personal trainer, you take them on.
Exactly.
But like most personal trainers at the moment, we then dialed that into, I always say to personal trainers, like, out of all your clients, you've probably got a handful that you love, that you can think of off the top of your head right now. Who do you love? Who would you probably train for free because you like them, because they listen, because they get results, you enjoy it, it's a good relationship. Now imagine, rather than having a handful, let's have all your clients like that. And so the exact same as what I'd said to you is being razor with your marketing in terms of who do you love working with. And I said that to you, you loved working with athletes, you loved doing the photo shoots, you loved people that got in the best shape of your life, and we really focused that in your messaging to start attracting the people that you loved, that you wanted to work with, that listened, that got results. And now you've went from probably training some clients that would stress you out,
the dreaded, like 1 hour a week,
the dreaded clients, to now probably every single one of your clients you would genuinely have a good relationship with now.
Like this is probably the first time since I've started PTing that I've genuinely not got a client that I don't gel with at all.
Yep.
Like, this is probably the first time that like I can genuinely say that I like every single one of my clients. It's not that I didn't like them, but there was definitely clients that you like working with a lot better. But the ones that I've got now, every single one of them, I look forward to hearing how they're doing. They all work hard. Like, don't get me wrong, they have bad weeks and stuff,
Yep.
but for the most part, they'll give me what I'm giving them, and that's just really what I wanted.
And so if we take that kind of one step further now, in a position before, the kind of gist I always get from a lot of personal trainers is they just pretty much take on anybody. So let's look at your position now. And I remember speaking to you, getting you really dialed in terms of try focus on the people you want to work with. And if you need to turn people away, you need to turn people away. If they're not a good fit, they're not a good fit. And I remember speaking to you going through that journey as to, if you don't resonate, if you don't click with that client, don't work with them.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that I do now. Like, I feel as if now that I'm in a position that I can do that, I definitely don't just take anyone on. It's only people that I feel as if, one, I can actually help them. You know, like, I feel as if before as well, regardless of whether I thought I could take them or not, I would have taken them anyway. Help them. But now I only take on people that I think will work for me, and I'll be able to work for them, and I can help them and I can bring them on. And also people that like I actually like as a person. Like, I definitely am in a much better position now to be selective of who it is. One, because I don't want to get back to that stage where I'm dreading my work and I'm dreading this check-in, or I'm dreading this person saying anything, or maybe even bringing the group down, because now we've got a great community of girls and boys in the Facebook group, and you know, they're really, really friendly. I don't want to then add to that to then bring the rest of my clients down that are doing phenomenal.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's very easy to focus on, let's say, 2 or 3 clients that are probably not doing what you asked them to do, to forget that you've got 30 or 40 clients that are doing what you want them to do.
Yep.
And sometimes you take that personal, that the ones that aren't listening is a reflection of your service, is a reflection of you, when really it's a reflection of themselves, that ultimately you're giving them all the tools that they need to get the same results that everybody else is getting.
Yep.
Yeah. And so one of the things you came to me with that you struggled with before was, as a one-to-one gym PT, it was time.
Yep.
You used to start at 6 a.m. I remember speaking to you and I said, do you genuinely enjoy waking up at 6?
No.
No. The people that tell me I'm all about the 5 a.m. club, I'm all about getting up early risers, early worm catches I don't even know what that is.
Early bird catches the worm.
Early bird catches the worm. There we go. Yeah. I always say to people, like, genuinely, for me anyway, I feel like nobody wakes up at 5 because they enjoy waking up at 5. Like, for me, freedom is not setting an alarm and just waking up when you want to wake up, not when you have to wake up. Now, for me, having a baby, I just wake up when the baby wakes up, so that sleep is non-existent anymore. But for yourself, that was something we said. I said, if you don't like working at 6, why don't we change it? Yeah,
well, like, I was starting at 6 and like my body clock, and I was finishing at 10, so my body clock was just not ready to go to work again. So it would definitely impact training. Hunger was through the roof, like, because I was so tired. You know, and then I couldn't be bothered cooking anything. I didn't have time to cook anything to eat. And then my training was like, if I did train, it was bare minimum. It was do what needs to get done, and it was really poor quality sessions, or it was just not train at all and go and rest for an hour before you do another 6 back to back. But yeah, no, like 100% waking up a little bit later, you know, seeing to myself first, making sure my breakfast and my coffee is prioritised, and then I usually do some cardio in the morning, or that's when I'll do I walk the dogs or something like that. I get outside and then I come back and then I start work at maybe 10 or 11, and then that's me for a couple of hours until lunch, and that morning routine just works so much better for me. I feel as if when I go to my work now, I am ready and I'm switched on and I'm ready to start my day, and I like the 2 hours that I'm working, I can get so much more done in those 2 hours than I could have like in 4 hours, if that makes sense. Like, the quality of work is so much better.
This is one of the key things that I learned for myself when I was prepping for shows, is that spending the first couple hours of the day on you, your body, your mindset, keep giving you that kind of jolt in the right direction, in terms of giving you that breathing space just to think and plan and organize how your day is going to be, sets you off to an absolute winner. And that's why I was always saying to you guys, in business, it's easy to take on clients anytime because it suits them. because ultimately you're trying to prioritize them first, and you forget about yourself.
Yeah.
So you're skipping meals, or you're eating meals that are convenient just because you're trying to get them in. That impacts your training. Then you're not training because, I didn't get a chance to eat, so my training's not going to be productive. Or you quickly grab something to eat that's convenient, and you think, well, I can't really train, I've just ate. And all these wee things I say to PTs, you became a PT because you love training. Yeah, you had that passion for training. And as soon as you as soon as you don't give that wee bit to yourself first, how do you expect to give the rest of your energy to all your clients?
Exactly.
Know what I mean? And that's where I think a lot of the stem of that demotivation comes from. You don't spend enough time on you. How do you expect to give the rest of your time and energy to all your clients? Know what I mean?
And I think I want to be an inspiration to my clients. I want my clients to look up to me and be like, I want to work as hard as her. I want to know as much as her. I want my clients to look up to me and be like, they're God. Do you know what I mean? And just be somebody that I'm their go-to. Whatever I say is just gospel. And that's it. And if you are out of shape, or if you're not practicing what you preach, or what you're doing and telling them to do, prioritize sleep and blah blah, if you're not doing that, then how can you be that person to them?
Exactly.
And that's a good thing about all the clients that I've got just now. They all look up to me, and it's definitely because now myself goes before them. As much as I love everybody that I train with, and I want my service to be second to none. The only reason it is like that now is because I'm looked after, and I'm doing the things that I want to do, and I'm prepping for things that I want to prep for, and my life at the weekend isn't revolved around working to 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. It's I'm refreshed and ready to go on Monday when all the check-ins start rolling in or whatever.
Yeah. So before, you were probably doing, like you said, anything up to the most you'd done was 70 hours. You were doing probably 50 hours consistently.
Yeah.
How many hours are you working now?
So right now, I would say I do something most days, but really I work probably 3 busy days a week just now. That is my check-in days. And then the rest of the time that I have is spent trying to upskill my service. So although it's the kind of stuff that probably people wouldn't class as work. So maybe doing a podcast, maybe doing a write-up of scale fluctuations, or just trying to
content, social media. Yep.
Exactly. And then just maybe planning some other things, booking shoots for the girls, trying to do something a little bit more like that is still work, but it's not quite as much. But there's 3 days of the week now that I would say that those are my work days, and that's where I sit down and get most of it done. And
what impact has that had on your life now?
Well, it's just I can, my partner, me and him before, he'd never seen me. We came in and we went to bed, and that was it. It was just hi, night, and then there we go. I have energy to train. Before, my training just took such a slump. I had no structure. It was just a case of getting in, doing what you could in half an hour, just thinking, right, okay, I've done it, and that not really making any progress in anything the way I was used to. I just feel as if I can cook all my food now. I'm so much more organised, so much more prepared, so that when I do have the busier days, so my busiest check-in days are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So when it comes to Wednesday, I'm ready. I'm right, okay, I'm ready to work, and the quality of what I do is just so much better. I can give more to my clients. In those 10 minutes that I'm talking to a client, they're getting so much more out of me than they probably would have had in 3 hours of my time, one-to-one. They're getting me refreshed. I've been even in the days that I'm not working, I'm doing nutrition courses. I'm totally trying to upskill in every way I can, which was something that I never had the time to do before. A nutrition course to me when I was doing 50 hours a week would have been impossible. I couldn't have done it. And not just that as well, we're doing I'm researching and this and that, and trying just talking to you guys, and trying to find out what my clients can get more of that's going to benefit them more, which is something that I couldn't have done before. I have the time now to do these things on my quote unquote days off.
And that's probably the most things that PTs would struggle with is time, 100%. So the next thing we'll go through is obviously the one thing I would say that most PTs struggle with is probably financial security. Is not knowing what happens if clients leave, are clients going to stay on, money's up and down, it's seasonal, etc. And how have we looked on, obviously in the High Performance PT Academy, this is something we try focus on with you guys to create a wee bit of financial stability for yourself, to create and attract clients that are committed to getting results with you and actually seeing it through, rather than clients that just will try it and see what happens. How is from a financial stability point of view now, looking at where you were probably in the middle or say the start of COVID, where income dropped, which I would say for every personal trainer, income drastically dropped. You went from having a full client base to maybe even a quarter or a third. How has things changed from that point to now?
So I actually remember the first time we actually spoke about pricing, and it was like I was ill again. Like, I was not well, didn't sleep, and yeah, like it was definitely really, really scary. Like, see, coming from charging what I charged, and like I was financially stable. Like, you know, I did always have income. I didn't really need to worry so much about like getting my car paid or whatever.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, any money that I was spending, I was quite kind of stupid with my money as well, to be honest. It was always just like cash in hand, like,
Yep.
do you know what I mean? And
Yep.
I, before I knew it, I'd gone to the shop and spend £100 or whatever.
Yep.
Whereas when COVID obviously started, I had savings and they started to like plummet. I was like, these are going fast. And I just needed to have a structure so that although I was going online, I was still making similar, if not more money. Like at the beginning, that's all I really cared about, was to be making the same money that I was making.
Yep.
But when I got to a point that I was making probably that, and I didn't need to worry about it, like it made the job so much more enjoyable, because it wasn't just based on money. Like in the position I'm in just now, like I'm not doing it for money anymore. Like I'm doing it because I genuinely love what I do. Like I'm just obsessed with trying to make what I do even better now. And that's something that I wasn't like before when it was money orientated. It was just trying to get as many sessions in as I could so that I could get as much money as I could. Whereas now, you know, I can be really selective of who I pick because the finances are there.
Yep.
So we do it like blocks up front. So like you'll do 12 weeks at a time, like, and that you pay that up front, and then it goes on to monthly rolling. So whenever I take a client, you know, I've got the financial security there to kind of like to secure me.
Yeah, to have enough time for one. If a client's going to commit to you, they're showing that they're going to listen, they're going to implement, they're going to do what you say. And two, for you, it just allows you to focus for that period of time just on getting the most out of them, focusing on the actual work, focusing on the client fulfillment, focusing on the results, and not worrying that if I keep giving all this effort and after a month they decide, actually, I'm just going to leave it, or I'm not really committed to it, or it seemed like something I wanted to do, but now that I'm actually trying to do it, it's a lot harder than I thought. And I think for you, from where you are now, like we talk about this with all the PTs in the academy, and especially for yourself, like that transformation in yourself from you were earning anywhere between £2,000 and £3,000 before. You took that bit of a dip, maybe down to 1,500 at the start of COVID, which was fine. It was money coming in. It wasn't like you weren't earning anything. You knew at some point things were going to get better. You did want to go online. Then me saying to you, look, you're charging too cheap for what you're offering. I remember having that conversation with you and wanting to up your price. You were scared. You were unsure. Were people going to take you seriously? Could you charge that? Like, are people going to buy that? I remember having all these conversations with you, and now fast forward, I would say 6 months, I would say.
Yeah, I think it must be about 6 months, yeah.
So in 6 months time, that transformation from 2 to 3 grand before to dropping down to 1,500 in a pandemic, which was perfectly normal, to then you saying to me, I'm going to sign up to the PT Academy. And for me, we had set that target for you, and I set this target for all the PTs in the academy, that we want any personal trainer to set the standard of earning 4 grand a month, which is 52 grand a year, which is ultimately going to give you time, freedom, and money just to do the life that you wanted. Now, I remember speaking to you at that point. I don't know how much you believed it at that point.
Nah, I don't think I did believe you. I was just kind of hoping.
Yeah, so you're still committed, but you were hoping, right? Now, we talk about this now, so probably I would say one of the biggest achievements to date for you has been what?
I don't know. I think just like, but I think for me the biggest achievement is like having the confidence to charge more again, and just like believing that I can actually be a good personal trainer and be worth what I charge. Like I think a lot of the time it was just having the confidence to do it, and now I feel as if, you know, I actually like the last time we talked about putting prices up, it was definitely not as scary because I'm like, do you know what? Like, I don't actually need the money. Like, I know for a fact that if I take an MD on that pays me this, they will get good value for money.
Yeah. So your biggest, I remember speaking to you. So your biggest win to date was probably about £8,000.
Oh, sorry. All right, okay, monthly. Yeah, 8,000. Yeah, 8,000 a month.
And I know genuinely in my heart, you didn't need anywhere near that to be financially secure.
No.
Yeah, you didn't.
4 or 5 would have been fit. I think 5 was my original goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. So 4 or 5, you said if I got to there, it was no longer about the money anymore.
Yeah.
It was all about clients, fulfillment. We always had this conversation. What more could I do for my clients? How better? What could I provide them to make the service better? How could I get them better results? How could I make their experience better? How could I give more education, more value? That was all you ever spoke about because we got rid of that financial barrier. It was no longer about the money coming in. It was more about what more can I give my clients? And even to this day, you still talk about what more I can give to my clients because it no longer becomes the financial security is not there. You know, it's no longer about the money.
Yeah, it's just that it's like a passion again. It's like that is just what I missed for the one-to-one. Like it's not that I didn't care, it's just that I didn't want to get any better. I didn't want, like, my clients were paying for my time. That was what they were doing. They were paying for that hour, and what they got out of that hour, that was it. Yep. Whereas now, like, I've got so much more time to give to all my clients. I'm working with like 45 people at the moment, and you know, they're all getting so much more than they ever had from me. And yeah, it's like, actually I'm in the position now where I actually like a lockdown because that's when people like will reach out, you know, like actually when the lockdown comes, I'm like, no, cool, do you know what, like, you know, this is actually going to be quite good. I've got loads more time to do XYZ, like jump on live Q&As with the clients, jump on group calls.
Yep.
Like even some of the ones that live locally to me, I'm like, right, okay, let's go a walk here and there, blah blah blah, and just really give like the best service I can. And that's actually what I'm obsessed with now. Like, I don't want MD to rival me now. I'm just sorry Tony, I'm coming for you. I don't want MD to rival me. Like, I want to be like the best. I want my clients to know that like there's no a better coach than me for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's just what I can really push for now. And just like any time that I'm spent not doing check-ins, I can just figure out ways to upskill. So whether that's through more advanced education courses, nutrition courses than I've done before, whether that's through like the Zoom calls with us that we do every week, or whatever it is, like I'm always trying to find something else that my clients can get more of me for.
Yeah. So we've looked at, you've got more time, you've got financial security. Now let's look at, in terms of from a business perspective, you've went from PTing and probably almost having your diary full on the one-to-one scale.
Yep.
Now looking at what you're doing now, you're working with more clients. Yeah. You've got more time. Yeah. So what has changed in terms of the systems that you're using now? How has that changed the way you coach?
So the systems I'm using now, like they've all got... So before, when I was training one-to-one, they would all get their training plan and it would be like verified. They would see me, that would be their check-in. We'd talk maybe the first 5 minutes. Yep. You know, I would tell them what they were doing in that hour if nothing was really set in stone or anything like that. Whereas now my clients have like software that they go on, their training plans on that, their step counts on that, video demonstrations of everything that I'm doing. They leave me feedback. Like, so if anything's not working, I can be quick to respond and change X, Y, Z. You know, if maybe the client is working more hours that week, we can be like, right, okay, we're going to prioritise this and this week.
Yeah.
You know, their check-in sheet that they do, I'm always asking what I can do to help them better. You know, we track their weight, their progress, and just do a bit more of a kind of deep dive into how their week's been. We have the Facebook group as well, and that's really, really something that I struggled to. I remember speaking to you about this. We struggled to get off the start. Like, it was something that was a bit of a slow burner. So we tried loads of things to kind of get that going, and now that's probably, I would say, one of the biggest assets to my business is how good, you know, my Facebook community is. Yep. All the girls are so helpful to each other. You know, they all know each other now. We do like competitions to win like vouchers for this and that. We do live Q&As as well. So like, I think that one of my big values is that I want the clients to understand why I'm asking them to do what I'm doing, so that one day when they maybe don't need me anymore, if I've done my job properly, they actually know how to go and implement it without relying on me as a crutch. So we do like live Q&As and go over everything in a lot more detail. I'll sometimes do like a seminar talking about hunger hormones, etc. You know, just so that they're getting really, really good value for their money. And then some of the girls will do like supermarket hauls, what they found, like blah, blah, blah. So, it's a lot, I can help a lot more people and a lot better. This is something that I didn't get with one-to-one. Like I was only working with maybe like, because some folk maybe do 2 or 3 a week, I don't know, 30 clients say, whereas now I can work with more and they get so much more of me.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to try get through is the difference between what people feel like one-to-one gives them versus what people feel like online gives them. And from your experience firsthand, you can now see the value in online versus the one-to-one. Whereas probably before this, you'd seen one-to-one as the main avenue. You'd seen online as I've tried it, it's not quite the same. Would you agree? Yeah,
oh no, definitely. I think as well, if a personal trainer doesn't have an online side now, they're really doing their clients a disservice. Showing what I can offer, even if I ever did decide, I wouldn't, but if I ever decided to go back one-to-one, not having that online side of it would be detrimental, I think, personally, now having done it. And I do want to still do, this is something we spoke about, like I still want to do some sessions, like I missed the contact, so it's just been about trying to figure out that as well, so that I can still have that one-to-one side, or groups coaching side of it, but the primary business is being online now. But yeah, I think that it was just so messy to start, and like having the structures that I've just spoke about in place now, it makes it a lot less overwhelming for the client, and you know, everything's really tailored to them specifically so that they can get the best results for them, because at the end of the day, that is what I'm here to do. I'm here to get them into the best shape of their life, or whether it's just accountability, whatever it is, like they need to get the best of that. And having these structures in place, you know, their structured training and this and that, it just makes that so much easier to achieve. And that's one thing that I would say resonates with so many personal trainers. You don't feel like you can charge a premium rate because you don't feel like the service is up to scratch. And a lot of the time it's not. Like, like a lot of the time, like, and personally as well, like I couldn't have charged what I'm charging now when I was one-to-one. Like I couldn't have, because I was like, people were getting half of me. Like it was 9 o'clock at night, my last session of the day, and I don't like, for people would be speaking to me and I wouldn't even have a clue what they're saying. How can you charge money for that? Like you can't. And as much as like I did try my hard just to work, I was a hard worker. I was just given a poor service. Like, do you know what I mean? It was as if I was employed. Like, and I've been self-employed. I've been self-employed all my life, but at the end there, before the gym shut, it was like I was, you know, a slave to the gym floor, and I was just working anything and everything. And the clients at the maybe first thing in the morning were getting nothing from me because I wasn't awake yet. The clients in the middle of the day, once I've maybe had my breakfast and got
your probably peak service.
They probably got the best of me, and then I maybe have a wee break at lunch, and then it would be 5 o'clock, and by that time I'd been working for 6 in the morning, so I was done. Like I was like so empty from 5 o'clock onwards. Got maybe half of me, like it would be just maybe a repetitive session, or I was just not all there. Like answers, if they were asking me things, I just wouldn't be able to answer it to my best of my ability. Probably not even taking in half of what they're saying, like asking them the same questions like 5 times. Like
we've all been there when you're present in the body but not in the mind. And your client is doing a set and they say, what rep am I at? And I'm like 6. Not even thinking about what actual reps are doing. I'm like 6, 7, and you just become a rep counter, you know what I mean, rather than an actual coach. And so things have changed drastically from you. So obviously give us an idea. So what are you charging now?
So we've just put my prices up, and that was pretty scary. So we are $540 for 12 weeks online coaching. Cool. Split payment is $270. I think we said about that. So
with that now, I mean, you still probably, you said to me initially, you still got nervous about charging more. But if we were to look at the value, the service, and what you're providing your clients now, do you feel like you're giving them a disservice? No, and the amount of money that I have spent this year, is like, this is something we always talk about as well. Like, although when my bank account started to get up, I was maybe making $4,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $6,000 a month. I was spending it all as well. So I was spending it on, like, you know, getting my media stuff done, photo shoots for the girls, photo shoots for me, nutrition courses at like £1,500. Obviously, my investment into the high performance. So every single, even Christmas presents for my client, every single month, I was pretty much making like £500 because I knew it was going to benefit me long term, and I was like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So
Yeah, and then now I'm at a point where I'm starting to make that money again, and then obviously it's not as much of an issue. I'm not really looking for that many more clients, so that's when we decided to up the price from £420 for 12 weeks to £540, and now I feel a lot more confident doing that because, you know, there's no desperation for the money. Like if they take it, fine. If they don't, move on to the next person who does want my help. And it was still scary. I think this is who I am as a person, and I'm a stress head. Like, but it definitely wasn't. It definitely settled earlier than the last time. I think after maybe the first 3 calls that I'd done, charging the higher price point, I got a little bit more relaxed with it, and it was more.
And
it was
do you
easier.
feel like because you genuinely believe in the service and the value that you now give your clients, that you have that confidence to charge more?
Yeah, that's it. Like every single week I ask my clients, what else can I do to help you? Like what else can I do to help you? And if there's something else that can be done to help them, then it is a priority for the next week to get that done. So, you know, like I feel as if just now the way that I work, I can provide that help while still looking after me and giving them the best of me. So, and if it was me, and that's what I would look for in a coach, and to me, what would I pay for that? What would I pay for that service? And like it's priceless. Yeah, like I would pay anything. Like if it's important to me, and you know, I knew that I was going to get this really good help, and I was going to be really well supported, and you know, I was going to get everything that I wanted. What would I pay for that? And you couldn't put a price on it to me. So and that's the kind of people that, going back to who I want to work with, I want to work with people who think like me. So that's going to resonate with them. And they're going to be the people that I'll end up working with, which in turn makes me want to work more and, you know, enjoy my job and have the passion that I have now for it.
So you've got more time, you've got financial security, you've got a business that's got growth and is scalable and gives you everything, client fulfillment, it gets you remotivated, it's got that passion back for what you do. And the last part of the puzzle for most PTs is we can now focus on you. Yeah, we can now prioritize, what do you want to achieve? Because most people became a PT because they love training. Yeah, that's ultimately why you got into it. And so we've now got that love back for give you that stability, give you back that time so that we can spend that on yourself and now focus on getting you what you want to achieve. So what have we kind of set for, or what is it that you want to, what is a personal goal that you want to achieve for yourself?
So there's a couple in business, and there's like some personal training, it's like my own training goals. So for business, I would love to end up taking on another person. Like I would love to have somebody else working for me. Business goals, that would be the dream, and you know, have like eventually maybe like a wee team of people, maybe like a kind of admin person and also another coach. That would be the dream business wise. I want to keep training girls for photo shoots and you know, develop their training a little bit more so that they do want to lift like hundreds of kilos, and you know, strong athletes that want the most bang for the buck out their training and want to take their training really seriously. And I've actually just sold out a shoot with 14 girls, and that's in April in the middle of a pandemic. Like, see, if you'd told me that when we signed up, I would never have believed that. And like the first shoot that I done, it only got 3 girls to do it. Only got 3 girls, and to now and then it was obviously, I documented it all, I put a lot of effort into promoting that, and this is the kind of which shape you can get into, and this is what we can do. I now sold 14 spaces like that, like they were gone, and I actually had to say to the photographer, like, I don't think, like, how much can you deal with? And he was like, don't give me any more people. And I was like, right, okay. So, you know, I could have definitely sold more, and that was like a really good position to be in, the fact that these girls that want to get into really good shape want to come and work with me, because you know, I was in good shape at that, like I was in good shape and I've done it. So that was a mini kind of goal that I'd kind of ticked off, and I just wanted to continue that and just add a little bit more to the business. Put me side of things, like I was originally a CrossFit athlete, so I started CrossFit when I was 17, and I started competing when I was 18. I was quite young. I was always pretty fit and healthy, like I was in all the volleyball teams and stuff at school, and then I started lifting weights. I think because I'd obviously come from a decent training background, I was already pretty strong, so I kind of went in with a little bit of a better base than probably most athletes do. When I was 18, I decided that I was going to compete. So I started doing like hour round trips. So I stay about an hour away from Glasgow, and I started doing hour up and down every day to train at a Kung Fu CrossFit gym, because that's what I had in my head at that point. I wanted to be a competitive athlete, blah, blah, blah. Won a few competitions, won the British Teen Championships, and then I decided that I was going to train for regionals. cut a long story short, that get taken away. They didn't have that anymore. So that competition that I dedicated about 3 years to at this point get taken away.
Okay.
So that I think as well kind of stopped my training. Like I didn't have the drive to come up to Glasgow and train every day again.
Okay.
So I would fill that time with clients, and then that's when I was really overworked, because the time that I wasn't, my time that I usually spent on myself was now gone, and it was just used to work and make more money. So when I started the academy, I was training for a photo shoot. I think just to give myself a bit of accountability and stuff again, but I'm a very competitive person. I really, really miss competing.
Yep.
And it really means, and I think I'm too young to not compete in anything anymore. Like I feel as if I don't want to get much older and look back and be like, I should have done that when I was younger. So I never thought I would see myself going down this route, but now you're prepping me for a bodybuilding show in June. And I think that's just going to be a really good challenge. Like, it is sport that I miss. And I think just having something to train for, and it might be the new big thing for me. We don't know until we try, but it means that I'm passionate about training and fitness and whatever, because I'm doing something myself that is like setting my soul on fire right now. And it's like, I have this goal, I'm going to do this. And like, it's scary and it's terrifying, but it's good. And I think just making that transition over from CrossFit to bodybuilding is quite scary, because it's always like a very CrossFit versus bodybuilding kind of thing.
I think it's totally different, but what I think is that the mindset and the competitive edge that you had as a CrossFit athlete, wanting to be better, wanting to be the best, and having that transition onto not only bodybuilding, but changing your physique to look a certain way. I think you're taking that same dedication, you're taking the same structure, the same routine, and you're homing that into something that's a new challenge. And we all know that we all train best when we're training for a specific reason, for a goal, to achieve something. We all train better that way. And so I always say to anybody that loves training, set yourself a goal. Now, you don't necessarily, that goal doesn't need to be stepping on stage. Like, we have guys in the academy that want to be bigger, never been bigger, want to put on 10, 20 kilo. We have people that, like yourself, want to step on stage. We've got PTs that want to do a photo shoot. So we're getting back to the home roots as to you became a PT because you love training. You then got busy, and that became the priority. No longer you. And we wanted to create that shift from business was first because you were chasing the money. Money's no longer the issue. So we can get back to what this is all about, which is you, your life, what you want. And I feel like that's going to allow you to get that reignition with that fire and that love for your training and your clients, and be able to empathize with what they're trying to achieve in their journey with yourself. And so I always say to people, you should have something that you want to achieve. I always say that to you as well, we should push you out your comfort zone. You should try something new. And especially that anybody that loves training and loves just the whole lifestyle about it, stepping on stage is just another goal. It's just another challenge. Now, whether you do that as a competitive athlete doesn't really matter, but at least you're setting yourself a target. And
I think your goals should scare you. I think I feel when we kind of had that first conversation about this, I felt the same way as I did when I signed up. Like, it was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Like, but I think that if COVID has actually taught me anything over the last year, it's to just go for it. Like, and I think I'm really influenced by what a lot of people think about me. So when I was in the gym environment, if I'd said, oh, I want to do bodybuilding, or I want to be an online coach, whatever that person had said about it would impact my decision how to do it. So I think that taking that out of my life had made me much more of a yes person. And although it's been scary, I've just had the confidence to do it because I've not listened to other people. And now, because I've taken those first couple of jumps, I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, whatever anybody thinks, like, I know what's working for me, and I know when I do these big scary things, I work hard enough to make them pay off. But yeah, it definitely was a bit like, why am I doing this? Like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I want to make myself scared all the time? But it definitely does pay off. And every single decision that I think I've made like that now, and it's paid off, it gives me the confidence to go bigger and bigger and bigger. So,
yeah, we had that conversation where you said the first, I would say, joining the academy, and your words was the first big commitment that you'd done. And it was scary. And within the first, I would say, 30 days, or maybe the first 4 to 6 weeks, You'd made the money back.
Yep.
And you were now looking at, if I can do this, what else could I do?
I think it was the first week that I'd made the money back. I think it was the first week I made the money back, and then after that it was right, okay. It was almost a bit like an addiction. I was like, I need to get that feeling again. So then it was paying for nutrition courses, and then it was paying for photo shoots for this and videos for this and websites, and and it was just taking these big plunges that were all paying off, and I was like, okay, more, and then I was like, I need to get money in the bank now. I need to start saving something because I'm just spending all my money. But no, and I'm always looking for, we were actually just talking about that as well, just thinking about what else we can do to invest and big up the business. And but I think if MD that is listening to this is thinking about doing something like this, then you do need to just take the plunge, because doing it yourself is going to be really, really, really difficult. You definitely need somebody to be yes, this is what you need to do. No, don't do this, do this, and just make the commitment to it. If you spend the money, it will come back eventually. It's money's just I don't know if I think this now because of the position I'm in, but money just isn't that important to me anymore for these things. If I think this is going to benefit me, fine, okay, that's fine, it's worth it.
Yep.
So I think that's what people need to keep in their heads.
I think that's something that we look at, your mindset shift from giving you the life that you wanted but wasn't quite sure how to get there, allowing you to see how to get there, giving you the direction and the plan, getting you there now, to now actually realising that, exactly what you say, more money doesn't make you happy.
No.
So there's only a certain amount of money you need to survive and live, and anything over and above that doesn't necessarily make your life any more fulfilled, doesn't make your life any more exciting, but what it does do is it gives you opportunities.
Yeah.
It gives you choices. And we'd said about your boyfriend Robbie's birthday, we'd said that the success in your business and something that you love doing gave you the opportunity to buy him something nice. Yeah,
well, that's it. We'd always had good birthday. We'd always spent good money on each other, but this was the first. So since I started making decent money, good money, I was just investing it back in, and that was probably the first purchase that I spent a good amount of money on that wasn't for that. And it was just nice to be oh, I can go and buy him this watch, and it's fine, and it's nice, and I can do that because he's very supportive. He's right, okay, even if you need money, if it was actually if this flops, then you can live off me, it's fine, whatever. So it was nice to be, and he is supportive of when I'm dieting and hungry and whatever, he'll eat his food in another room, that kind of thing. So it was nice just to give something back to him and just not worry about the consequences of that, and just enjoy giving him something expensive and really nice, and having the stability to do that.
Yep. And this all stems now from that first wee commitment that you'd made.
Yep.
You wanted more time. You got more time.
Yep.
You wanted financial security. Blown that out the water in my eyes, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're now absolutely killing it, to be honest. You've got a business that can grow, that can scale. If I was to say to you, Nikki, let's take on another 25 clients tomorrow, you could do it.
Yeah.
You've got everything in place to do it.
Yep.
And for your own personal goals, you're still looking after number one, which is you. You're now focusing on doing something that's outside your comfort zone. You've got something to train for, to challenge you, to excite you, to scare you, in a sense, to make you...
Give me that buzz that I look for now.
Give you that buzz and that motivation. And all of that came within 6 months.
Yeah. The way I live now, see, if you'd asked me this time last year, this would have been a dream. I would look at people that live the way that I live now and be how does she have time to go and do this or that? Or how is she affording, a tag watch for your boyfriend? How is she... Yep. And, the way... And, I genuinely look at people and I'm they love what they do. And, that's, me now. And it was... This point I never thought I would have got to. I never seen myself doing anything else but slaving on that gym floor. I thought that was me, and I used to be what can I do to retire at 40? What do you know what I mean? I was I need to start buying houses or something so that I can retire at 40. And I'll actually wake up in the morning now and I'm this is a dream, and I never even thought that I would work the way that I work just now, and it's definitely been the best thing that for me as well. I was miserable. I wasn't just just tired and grumpy. I was genuinely really unhappy. Like I hated my body. Like, and I think going for somebody that was really fit and an athlete and, you know, a champion, like I was then looking at my body and still eating like probably the way that I was training and just not looking after myself at all. And I was so upset every time I went to my work. I would wear like trackies and big jumpers and I was just really unhappy with that because I didn't have time to look after myself. I was then miserable in my job. I didn't really resonate with a lot of the PTs that I was working with on that floor as well. Like, you know, and it was just a really unhappy time. And then COVID hit and it was actually a really good time because I could get out of that. I could get like a break. It was like a holiday for me. And then the closer it grew to coming out of lockdown, I was like, I can't go back to that because, you know, I've picked it up. I wanted to train for a photo shoot. So I was already training for a photo shoot throughout lockdown. You know, I was running, the sun was shining. Like I could get that feeling of training like an athlete again because I had the time to do it. And then the thought of creeping, like not having that anymore, the thought of not having what was making me feel so good was terrifying. So that's when I took the action and I was like, I cannot do that again because the way I am now compared to the way I was then, it's just like two different Nickies. And like I always actually say I always dread like the day that before a lockdown happens and I have to go back outside. I'm like, I like actually being in here, but it's a lot more manageable now because, you know, everything's structured. Like every time that happens, like a lockdown's lifted or whatever, I mean, you're like, right, okay, this is the plan of action. Like we're doing this with your online clients and this is when you train and blah, blah, blah. So it's definitely not as stressful as that first one. So
I mean, your life just has completely transformed, like through a pandemic, through a lockdown, has forced you to have the life that probably you never thought you would have got. I mean, what age are you now, Nikki?
23, yeah.
23, living the life you've always wanted to live, financial security, loads of time, got a thriving business, spending loads of time on yourself, working on your own personal goals and who you are as an individual. What would you say, imagine talking to yourself or talking to another PT who is in your position that probably, what were they thinking 6 months ago? What would you say to yourself or a PT that was in your position 6 months ago?
Stop thinking you know it all. Stop thinking you know that you're doing best and stop thinking that like, you know everything and there's nobody better than you and working all the hours under the sun is making you the best. Like stop wearing that as a badge because it's not a badge. Like there's no MD now that says to me that they're working probably 35 hours plus, 30 hours plus. There's no way you're giving good quality sessions. There's no way you're giving your clients the best of you. Like you need to prioritize like yourself. Like you need to reach out to somebody that knows what they're doing and ask for help. Like because you can't do it yourself. And like spending money in your business is never going to go to waste. Like there's always something that you can learn from it, whether it does. And that's what kind of, the more that I started to spend money on XYZ, that's what I realised. Like if it does flop, it's a lesson learned because you won't spend it on that again. Like, and the things that do work, then you spend more money on that and you put more money into that. And yeah, you just need to bite the bullet and go for it, because if you're not happy with the way you're working and you're not being the best version of yourself, then you need to change something or you're going to live the rest of your life unhappy. Yeah,
so if you hadn't made that decision, you probably wouldn't be where you are now.
No, absolutely not. And then even like just the links that I have now, like so obviously all my social media, like all my graphics, like my web, all the links that I have to do everything now has actually been a really good, useful tool. And it's just about making a decision. Like this is actually kind of funny, like looking back at it, like the amount of avenues that just actually signing up has opened for me. Bodybuilding, like other friends, like the ability to just travel, and go XYZ. Like we went in a lodge break and I did my check-ins from my laptop just in the last minute thing. Like other links to this person can do this for you and this person can do that for you, and like and just watching other people grow, and it's inspiring as well. So yeah.
So Nikki, I mean, for myself, you were probably, with all the PTs I've worked on in the last, I would say 5 or 6 years, it was always to do with getting themselves in shape. It was always to do about being the best version of themselves. You were probably the first person that came on board with the academy that I didn't know. I hadn't worked with you in the past. I just knew that you wanted help. I genuinely believe that anybody who wanted help, is I could get them from where they are now to where they want to be, solely for the fact that was me. From being a PT, 13, 14 years now, and going from the 15, 20 pound an hour, doing 60, 70 hours a week, to now what I'm doing now, I just felt as though from that journey, based on where you are, I could take anybody from that place that they're at the moment and take them to wherever they want to be. And that's what the Academy's shown me, is that ability and that passion to believe in you more than you believe in yourself, that anything that you want to achieve is possible with the right tools, the right help, the right systems, and the right guidance, you would smash it. And I feel like for you, I would say that you're probably what we classify as that. When we talk about the best clients you could have in your program, I would say that you would be one of those grade A clients where you listen, you implement, you go and do the fucking work, and you make it happen. And I think that it's fine having the information, but you need to do the work.
Yeah, I think that's it as well. And I think, like, although it was scary putting my prices up, like totally changing this and totally changing that, like, I think that I am quite a coachable person, like, and I think that that is important. That, like, if you are probably one of those PTs that are very stuck in your ways and working all the hours under the sun in the gym, like, you need to come into this with an open mind. Like, you need to listen and implement and, like, be coached, because if at the end of the day, why would you ask for help if you were just going to stick to what you were doing? Like, you need to listen to somebody that's done it. And I think as well, if you're actually at a point where you're that unhappy, I was desperate. Like, personally, I was desperate. Like, I was so anxious about going back to doing what I was doing. Something needed to change, and I think if somebody told me to go and throw stones at the moon, I would have probably started been out there doing it. Do you know what I mean? But it is really important, and that's like what I look for in my clients as well. Like, coachable, listen, like, you know, ask questions about X, Y, Z, and, you know, that's my job to answer them, and that's the same as you. Like, nothing's ever an issue to ask. Whether that's on the Zoom calls or whether that's like in the Facebook group, whatever it is. You know, and you do have to be willing to put these things in practice, and that's how you're going to see the results, and that's like how I'm kind of where I am today, and just want to keep growing on that.
And that's why I preach exactly what I say to you guys. I don't work with everybody. We don't practice or we don't set up this service to work with everybody, because not everybody's a good fit. Yeah, you want to work with people that you have a good relationship with. You want to have a good client coach communication. You want to be able to implement and learn. You want somebody that's open to all of that, to want to be better, to succeed. And all of that has allowed me to see all you guys in the Academy just go from strength to strength to strength. You're all at different stages of your journey, but at least now for me, like, the sky's the limit now from where you're at now, just because of all the milestones that you've overcame in a pandemic in the last 6 months, overcoming a lot of the issues that most PTs have: lack of time, lack of financial security, not really got a business that's scalable, and don't spend enough time on themselves. You know what I mean? And that's why we put the PT Academy together, was to give all you guys those tools to achieve all of that. So for me, it's been an absolute joy, Nikki, to get you on board. I feel like hopefully your journey, where you're at, there's a lot of PTs out there that are in the same shoes as you, that probably don't have that belief, don't have the know-how, have got the experience, but just aren't sure how to take it to that next level. And I think you have been an absolute inspiration from where you were to where you are now in such a short period of time. Has been absolutely astronomical, and it's been down to nothing but sheer hard work. You've put in the time, you've put in the effort to create that business that you have now, and this isn't even the end product. Yeah,
I know, it's actually quite frightening to look at it now, like where we're going to go, but I'm really excited about it. It was definitely the best decision that I did make last year, was to sign up and change the way that I was working, because the difference in my life is just, like, you couldn't even explain it. Like, I'm just a different person, and so it's just so much nicer to wake up in the morning and just be excited about, you know, your day.
Yeah, perfect, Nikki. Well, thanks for your time today.
You for having me on.
Guys, I look forward to obviously catching up with a lot more guests. There will be far more to come from the podcast, and we look forward to your feedback. Speak to you guys soon.